Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward. Hello, my haunted hearts. Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast Halloween edition. So you already know that this is Paranormal Talk with Heart and Soul. Maybe I've stolen some souls this evening. Tonight's segment is pre-recorded, streaming on United Public Radio Network 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast, YouTube, and any place you find your favorite spooky podcasts. Welcome to a night where the veil grows thin. Tonight, on the High Strangeness Halloween edition, we journey into the shadows of the unexplained. So lock your doors, dim your lights, and join me and my special ghouls as we step into the world where reality twists, the paranormal awakens, and Halloween isn't just a date on the calendar. It's a portal to the unknown. So please help me welcome Andrea. She is Keeper of the Shadows. We also have Lorianne, Watcher Between Worlds, and Angela, Seer of the Hidden. So, welcome, ladies.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Happy Halloween! Happy Samhain! Whatever you celebrate. Thank you so much for being here, ladies. We were supposed to have a few other people. We're supposed to have another team on, but like I mentioned to some of you before, that when you have if you have more than 2 or 3 people, it's so hard to get everybody's schedules to coincide. So I'm happy that you 3 were able to make it.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. And those hosers have to come back another time, eh?
I know, right? So Andrea is dressed up as a Canadian, eh? Although she is Canadian, but
no doubt about it.
I think only Canadians would get that.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
We'll do another podcast on Canadianisms.
Yeah, right. I got my double.
This is a double.
This is a double. Well done. A. For years, some of my paranormal podcast friends, they kept saying, well, you don't say A. And I try not to when I'm doing the show, right? And one day, didn't I say it? And they're all like, she said it. She finally said it. And just like, oh. Yes,
my sister is born or married to an American, and the first time I ever met them, that was the first thing. They kept watching me, and they're like, oh my gosh, she said it again. And I for sure thought I did not say that very often, but man, oh man, when they point it out, it's every sentence.
Yep, it's so funny. So I was hoping that my horns would appear, maybe if I sit all the way back, but then I can't see the screen as well. Okay, so tonight we are going to be discussing some creepy, true hauntings from various locations in Canada. I think that's what we're doing, right? We've messaged so often. I'm like, what are we doing again?
I know. I just grabbed a ghost story, but I can have
That's
some
fine.
true. That's fine.
Oh yeah, ghost stories, anything true, that would be great. So who would like to start? Andrea.
Yeah, you do it.
You've been voluntold.
All right. Well, sorry, I'm a little overdressed. Well, actually, I'm still in my summer clothes, but we'll make do.
Do you have your hockey stick too?
It's close by. It's
Okay.
it's propping up the dory.
A.
Well, the story that I thought was pretty interesting. And I'm sorry, we were supposed to be there tonight, but a storm hit, so we'll have to do that a live stream there another time. But a fun little story that we have here that's really kind of takes flight in October is the Shelburne Street Time Warp, or the Time Vortex. Nobody really knows when it started. Some people believe it's true. Some people believe it's like a marketing hoax. Often basically there's a street on Shelburne, and there's a couple areas where people have claimed to walk down that street, and most often at night, and then just like in an instant, everything just completely turns into like how it was here back in the 1800s. And like people have even claimed they've been walking along, and like all of a sudden this sidewalk, the concrete sidewalk, will turn into like cobblestone, and you'll hear like the clicks of like horses and buggies walking by or carrying on by. People have seen people dressed as, you know, you would in the Victorian era, even to today, people. And there's some reports throughout the year, not just October, but who live in the condominiums and apartments around there will claim like they'll hear horse and buggy carriages outside, or just weird noises that maybe wouldn't be attributed to today. And they'll look out the window, and sometimes they'll see things flash quickly, and sometimes they won't see anything, but they'll hear things. So most often it's reported on Sunday nights throughout October, and generally Sunday, but any nights it's reported between 2 and 3 a.m. And there's also debate if maybe this phenomena is from, you know, a few people that have come back from the bar, and having a few Molsons, and yeah, so it's interesting. We've tried going down there a few times. Like it's there's an interesting energy around there for sure. But yeah, it's one of Victoria's fun little mysteries. So if you're in the Victoria area in October and you know, want to head down there at night, go see if you switch back into time.
It's really interesting because not only on Halloween, because the veil's thinner and there's more things that appear, but it doesn't matter the time of year. People report brief temporal displacements, you know, strange fogs all of a sudden appear, stepping into a scene from another era, or seeing spectral reenactments, and then all of a sudden it's gone just like that. So or phantom towns, you know, that just buildings show up and they weren't there before. So that's really interesting that Vancouver has its own little temporal distortion, I guess we could call it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's neat. I mean, some people really swear that they were like, no, I wasn't on anything. And like, I literally started tripping over cobblestone, and like, Victoria just vanished into another dimension. And then usually it doesn't happen for like a long time. It's not like you're gone for like an hour. Usually reports are a couple seconds to maybe a minute or two at most. I really haven't heard of much happenings over 5 minutes, and even that's pretty rare. Like,
yeah,
but it is interesting. I mean, even people who don't believe claim that they were like, I don't know what happened. I just all of a sudden saw the old town. So
I had a similar instance here in the little town that I live in a few years ago. I was driving on this long road that leads to Highway 17, and I was getting ready to go on the highway. So as I'm approaching the intersection, because we're in this part of Ontario, it's so strange. When we first moved from New Brunswick, I was like, what do you mean the highway has traffic lights? Because they kind of go through the towns. It's just so strange. But I'm approaching the intersection, and just for a split second, maybe it's more, just maybe 5 seconds, I'm driving, and all of a sudden the highway's not there. The trees are all like, there's more trees than there should have been, and there's just the one road that I'm driving on, and I didn't see vehicles. It was like horse and buggies, and all my mouth would just kind of like, my chin just dropped, and I'm looking around, and inside my head I'm like, what the, and then back to normal. I've never had that happen before or since. It was the coolest thing, but I didn't get stuck there.
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Because then I'd have to leave a letter for 2025 at this particular address and say, you know,
sorry, I'm going to be late for tea.
yeah. Right.
It's wild. And the interesting thing about here though is like it is in an older part of Victoria, so what people are seeing is very likely what would have been at those times, like, you know, like the farmlands and like the edge of Victoria, and you know, but it is neat that it's on one stretch of a main road like Shelburne Street. But it's around two different areas, like Pear Street and a little bit towards Fort Street. I forgot the crossroad now. But that area, there's a whole bunch of like war memorial trees that were planted. We thought they were oak trees, but Angela found out that they were not and corrected us. We thank her for that. But yeah, it's this beautiful stretch, but that also, like, that time frame wouldn't have matched the 1800s. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, there's a lot of history around these areas, but it's just a bit wild.
Do you think it's residual or is it intelligent? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Personally, I think it's residual.
Yeah.
I think it's just recording in town, because I have never come across, talking to people or doing research, any credible stories of people saying they've been interacting. Like, it literally is just like they accidentally almost poke their head into like a window and seeing a scene that's going on or something like that. But they don't seem to be recognized, and they don't seem to be able to interact with anything happening. So I think it's residual.
Yeah, it sounds like it, but you know more about it than I do, and I wanted to know what your take was on it. Wow, that's
Angela
amazing.
might have some thoughts on it too, because I know she's pretty well versed in that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that story is really interesting. It's yeah, the fact that you can go down a road and just be in a different time. It's amazing to me.
That's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so intriguing but scary at the same time, because could a person actually get lost in that time and never come back to their own timeline? Makes
That
you
would be
wonder.
terrifying.
Yeah,
I would not like that.
makes me wonder how many people that go missing and they say they just disappeared. We don't know where they went. I wonder if it's something like that happened. I mean, we don't know for sure, but it's possible.
Well, could very well be. And I know people claim that when this happens, they notice that their phones are no longer working, whether it's like they can't take photos, they can't make phone calls, like there's no reception. So it would be hard, if that's true, how would you be found if you got just sucked in? So
that would make sense, because if they're in that timeline, then you didn't have the cell tower. So of course your cell's not going to work. Yeah. So, wow, so many things to speculate, and it's creepy cool.
So if we disappear, we're kind of where to find us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to think that, there's so many people that disappear without a trace, and yet, their items are still left somewhere, or, a boat has been left, completely empty and it's still floating and so forth. So I wonder if that all plays into it too.
There's a place in New Brunswick when we lived there. My husband, for his first posting, we were 2 hours away from where we were actually from, and we used to take one of the side roads, and there was always this abandoned house back in the field. So one day my husband's like, I have to go check that out. So he went and he peered in the windows, and he said, like, we've never ever seen anybody live there. And he says he saw plates with food on the table. Oh. And it's just like, all of a sudden they just like, what? I don't know if they suddenly had to leave for a valid reason, or if it was something that was more spooky. Like, we don't know. But it was kind of like, he's like, that is really odd. The plates are on the table with food. Obviously, it's decomposed and gross, but yeah.
It is bizarre.
Oh, it's getting hot in my igloo here, I tell you.
It's getting hot, eh? we should have had a little drinking game. Anytime anybody says, hey, take a drink.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
I don't think we would have been able to finish the episode.
No, I would have been up for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Too funny. Who would like to go next?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I thought I would tell you the story. Actually, I have a couple little stories.
Yeah.
We could talk about. One is more is with Victoria, and it's about the screaming doppelganger.
Ooh.
Our team actually went down. It takes place at Beacon Hill Park, which is a very famous park in Victoria. Our team went down a little while ago to do some investigating. So the story is that on the corner of Douglas and Superior, a big Beacon Hill Park in the 1970s, there is a sighting. There was a sighting. So early morning, people on their way to work, they would see a woman her arms upreached, and with her mouth gaping open as if she's screaming, but there was no sound. And so she was on top of this rock, and we actually went up there and did try to communicate with her. She had blonde hair but very dark complexion and dark clothes and so forth. And so that happened for quite a while, and then she had disappeared. And then about 10 years later, I think it was 1983, there was a sighting of the complete opposite of what this lady looked like. So she had dark long hair and she was very pale. And but she too was in the exact same spot as this lady previous to her, and still sitting. Some people said that she was in like a yoga pose or sitting like in a meditative state on this rock, but she too also had her mouth open, gaping as if she was screaming and no one was there. Now, this particular lady, the people said that she looked more of an apparition. They thought that she actually she wasn't humanly alive.
Okay.
And but however, people would still try to go up and see if she was okay because there was nothing there. And then it stopped, and then just a few weeks later, there was actually a body found. Excuse me, just a few yards back in the bushes of where the sightings had taken place, and it was of a poor lady named Donna Mitchell, and they believe that was her apparition being sent up there. Now, doppelgangers, they say if you see your doppelganger, that it's a premonition of your own demise. And so it's very interesting that this lady, who is definitely a doppelganger of not only Donna Mitchell and this lady in 10 years previous. So it's quite an interesting story of what happened up there. And still to this day, Donna Mitchell's murder, she was murdered, is unsolved. Yeah.
Wow. And what was the year that she was living?
1983.
Okay, 83, right. Good year.
Good year.
I love the 80s.
Yeah. So that's a little story.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Story.
Lorianne.
Well, mine's kind of a ghost story, but where it was told was real, and I was a kid, so I might have some of the details a little bit mixed up, but I'm sure everybody has heard a version of it. First off, I was probably just a preteen, and I was went to a church camp in at Pigeon Lake. I believe it was called Malhurst, a camp, and they would have like you'd go on kind of there was a chuck wagon that you would sleep in, and the fire, they would get going, and they would tell these ghost stories. And one of them was called The Babysitter. And it's a story about how there's a babysitter by the name of Doreen. She was taking care of 3 kids. I'll say Joe, Bob, and Katie. And they were sitting watching TV, and the phone rings. So Doreen answers the phone, and all she hears is this hysterical laughing, and then they hang up. Yeah, and so the kids go, "Hey, who was that? Was that mom and dad?" And she goes, No, it was just somebody making a prank. Yeah. So at about 9:30, the phone rings again, and this time it says, "I'll be there soon," and it's a guy's voice, and he starts laughing hysterically again, and he quickly hangs up. And Doreen's like, "Oh my God, what is this?" She doesn't know what's going on, but probably still playing a prank. So at 10 p.m., the phone rings again. But this time, the youngest, Katie, picks up and goes, hello. And he goes, one more hour. And then he starts laughing again and hangs up. And Katie goes, oh my God, you just said 1 hour. I'm so scared. I don't know, I feel very uncomfortable. And Doreen's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to worry about just Halloween. Somebody's playing a prank. So at about 10:30, the phone rings again, and Doreen picks it up again. This time and before she can even say hello, it says, pretty soon now. And she's really freaked out herself, but she's got the kids, she's babysitting them. Oh, it's still somebody pranking, they're just crazy. Don't worry about it. So at 11 p.m., the phone rings again, and he says, very soon now. He's laughing hysterically, hangs up the phone. So Doreen goes, you know what? I've had it. I'm going to phone the operator. That really ages the story. Phone the operator. And I'm going to get her help. So she phones the operator and she says, if they phone again, call me back and we'll trace it. So the same thing happens. I'm going to get there. I'm there, very soon. And so she hangs up and phones the operator back. So the operator goes, okay, no problem. We will trace the call. So they both hang up, and immediately the operator phones back and says, the phone call is coming upstairs from one of your telephones, and you need to get out of the house now, and we're going to phone the police. So as Doreen's gathering the kids to run outside, they hear the door upstairs open up and see a very tall, gangly man coming out. And he's smiling menacingly at them, and he's got a really bad grin. And so they run out, and the police arrive and find him and arrest him. That was the story. So they told all of us kids around the good old church campfire.
Wow.
Nothing from the Bible, but a lot of scary stories. So that was
So there was actually a guy in the house?
There was a guy in the house the whole time, just playing with them. But I know there's lots of versions of it because I've heard other versions, but that was the one I was most familiar with.
And I remember growing up, we used to, if my mom wanted to make a long distance call, she would have to, because it was free after midnight. So she would call the operator to say, could you give me the correct time, please? But we used to have multiple phones in the house, and I can't remember what it was, but you could pick up the phone and dial a number. I can't remember how many digits, and it would actually make the other phones ring in the house. So that's probably what he was doing.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, when you said, the story is totally aged, like I said, because the phone operator, but you really would phone the police or whatever. But yeah, you could totally, do that back then.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, not so much.
No. I don't know, with all those gadgets and stuff now, you remember, maybe it was about 30 years ago, kind of when those kind of watches and everything were coming out that you could change the TVs and stuff like that. Well, I think we were all around 16. I remember one of my friends had got one of those and was the kind of the cool guy because he had all the gadgets. And maybe this isn't the best story to tell, but my dad had just passed away, and so he thought it was a funny idea. So we're all sitting around TV, and then he starts changing the channels and got my friend's parents in on the trick or the joke to turn the lights on and off, and all of a sudden the TV pops up with 666 666, and everybody starts screaming, being like, Andrew, your dad's back from the dead, and everybody started running.
Oh my god,
that's terrible.
Oh jeez. It's funny now, but at the time,
that was the closest I've ever needed to change my pants because it wasn't cool. I'll say that much.
I remember as a teenager, I had my friends over and we were watching horror movies, and my mom went out the back door, walked to the front, and we had a porch, and we had the living room window was open, but when you open the window, it leads to the porch. So, and it was completely enclosed. So my mom just kind of went right through the window, like, bah! Like, and everybody, one friend ran out the front door. It's just like,
I feel like you and I must be close in age, because my mom, she didn't do that, but every Friday night in Calgary at midnight, they have like Frankenstein movies and all these really horrific movies on. My mom would be like, okay, grab your blankets. We're going to go watch it on TV. And we would be scared, crapless. And it was the same. And she would do these crazy things. And she thought it was A-okay.
That's funny. My mom had a big ghetto blaster, and it's so funny. We had a cassette tape. Yes, kids, cassette tapes. Google it. So it was a haunted sound, people screaming, just Halloween stuff. So this father, what's that?
I miss those.
I know, right? So father's coming up the driveway with his two kids, and my mom plays it. The father ran to the end of the driveway, didn't even grab his kids. Like, scared the crap out of them. And it was just like, oh man, the kids are looking at their father going, like, what are you doing? Like, you're embarrassing me. The kids were fine, but the father, not so much.
No.
Gee.
Good old days.
Yeah. Oh, I have to mention another time too. Oh my God. So the Halloweens at home. So we used to find the biggest pumpkins we could find, and we would carve it and put it on the front. Well, every year somebody would come along and smash it. So one time my dad thought, okay, I'm going to put an alarm underneath, so when you move the pumpkin, it goes off. It's like, okay. So we're laying in bed, and you can hear the alarm go off, and then it stops. And we're like, okay, the trap worked. So later on, we hear the sound again, and then it stops. So the next morning, Dad goes to check it. They left the pumpkin, but they brought the alarm with them. So my dad always said, I wonder if that kid, whoever it was, had the alarm with him in his house going, I can't let it go off because, I left the pumpkin and took the siren. It was just like, what?
Oh my goodness.
Just little Halloween fun that's harmless,
That's just it. You got to have some fun, and like one day out of the year to cause a little chaos is not the worst thing in the world.
I miss a good Halloween neighborhood. We lived in military housing, and for a while, a long time ago, and it was the quintessential Halloween movie with kids flying everywhere, but back and forth on the streets. It was so great. We used to decorate our front yard so much. Our house was like just complete. I remember my ex-husband, we had these matching ghost outfits, and he would sit in the front yard. It was so busy with kids that you didn't have a chance to close the door. There was no such thing as closing the door. You basically sat outside. So he would sit off in the corner, and he would all pretend that, he was a statue or something. And man, did he scare so many people, and mostly the adults. It was always the adults who freaked out the most. All the kids knew, but all the adults were like, oh my God, just jumping as soon as he would just do anything. But
so funny.
I love Halloween.
My son, so when my kids were 3 and 5, we went trick-or-treating. We were living on the base too in the PMQs, and one of the houses, instead of going to the front door, they had a little maze in their backyard, and then they had a big tent, and that's where you got your candy. So people have fight or flight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, were they that old, or were they? No, I think they were like 5 and 7, so they were a little older. So my son, he's walking, and I guess the guy that lives at that PMQ, he had it looked like grave mounds, right? Well, and they had like the zombies and stuff coming out. Well, one of them was actually him. So when my son walked by, he grabbed his ankle, he hauled off and kicked him right in the head. And then he realized, oh my God. And I'm like, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I didn't think that I didn't think that really well, so I don't think I'll be doing that next year. But I was just like, no, seriously, are you okay? And he thought it was hilarious, so they gave him extra candy. It's like 5 years old and he's fighting the zombies. That's my boy.
Good.
That's some pretty impressive kid.
Start them early.
At least you know who has your back now if there is a
Yeah.
zombie.
Yep. So I wanted to mention, hang on, I have one here. Where is it now? Something that a legend in Niagara Falls, Ontario called the Screaming Tunnel. Apparently, it's one of Canada's most famous haunted locations, and its story, it's both tragic and eerie. So the legend is the tunnel is a limestone passageway built in the late 1800s as part of a small railway project. And according to local legend, a young girl was horribly burned to death inside the tunnel in a house fire. Some versions say she was trying to escape abuse, others that it was an accident. Her ghost is said to haunt the tunnel, and people claim that if you light a match in the middle of the tunnel and then blow it out, you can hear her screaming, her screams echoing off of the walls. I mean, how creepy would that be? Yeah. So apparently some paranormal activity that people have reported, auditory phenomena, many visitors report hearing screams, moans, crying, especially at night. There's cold spots. Sudden drops in temperature have been reported even on warm days. Apparitions, some claim to see a shadowy figure of a girl at the far end of the tunnel or fleeting images in the corner of their eyes. That's always a big one, seeing things in the corner of your eyes. And equipment readings, paranormal investigators using EMF detectors, which is electronic, I can't remember what it's called. Help. EMF.
Electronic
Electrical.
We're all like, blah, blah, blah.
Electromagnetic field.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah. And
I'm gonna use them every weekend.
You all need some double, ladies.
Might need a little bit more than double in there.
We'll get some
yeah. There's also thermal cameras have occasionally reported unusual spikes and cold spots inside the tunnel. So the article that I was reading says, why is it high strangeness? The tunnel isn't just haunted by one type of phenomena. Visitors report auditory, visual, and environmental anomalies. Oh, Lord. Simultaneously, so like all at the same time. And it's a classic example of a location where folklore, tragic history, and paranormal reports converge.
Wow.
And it makes it ideal for Halloween storytelling, such as tonight.
Oh.
So apparently it's located near Niagara Falls, Ontario, off a back road near Port Robinson. Apparently it's accessible to the public, but best visited at night for a truly spooky experience. They actually have paranormal tours often there too, so that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, that is a neat story, but I mean, like, you got to think the intensity of that energy, like that poor kid, like just being trapped in that energy and that torture and all of that. Just curious, like, do you know if anybody's ever tried to kind of help release her?
I don't know. I wasn't able to find anything about that. I'd like to think, since at least one paranormal team has been there, I'm hoping that somebody tried to help her cross over.
Yeah, gosh, that would be intense though to check that story out.
But I've also heard that some locations like that, they don't want anyone getting rid of the entities that are there, because it's such a crowd, not pleaser, but it draws in the crowds to go see what it is. So I've heard that, not this location, but I've heard at some locations, whoever owns or runs whatever, if it's a house or whatever, they don't want the entity to cross over. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of cruel, because they still want to keep the ambiance, you know. But I think that's cruel, but I'm hoping.
It's interesting to think too about how stuff like that kind of messes up the whole grand scheme of things. If we believe in past lives, are they missing what they were supposed to be doing transferring over to a past life, or I don't know, all these things pop into my head, but it makes you wonder about like what effect that really has on this existence we're in, right?
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. Like, are they still there because they're trying to tell people what actually happened, and they want their murderer to be found, for example, or like it's hard to tell, hard to say what's going on, but
It's almost like the doppelganger.
Mm.
Yeah. It's always been suspected. They feel like she was there because they found her later after she was seen. So,
Wow.
Mhm.
It's interesting too, because I've noticed that story is getting more popular again. Like more people are talking about it, and there seems to be more sightings. And
well,
yeah.
it's 40 years. Well, now it's 42 years. So 2023.
Wow.
It's 40
Yeah.
years. I think we were there in 2023 too.
I think it was 2020. Yeah, 2 years ago. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Do you think it could also be like more of a residual with the screaming tunnel as
That's what
opposed to, it being a ghost that's hanging out, trying to find conflict resolution?
Yeah. I kind of
Um,
think it is, just from what I've read, but I
mm,
haven't actually been there to look,
mm,
like to delve deeper into the lore, the myth, whatever the story. But from the little bit that I was able to find, it kind of sounds like it is residual. I mean, that much emotion is, of course, going to be saturated on the walls, especially it's limestone.
yeah.
Wonder if it could be a bit both, because you made a comment
Hmm.
about how when people do the matches or whatnot, there's a reaction to that. So I wonder if it could be both.
That's right. Yeah. Totally forgot about that part. Yeah.
Because I believe in that anyways. Like I believe when people always seem to draw a line. Is it residual or is it like an intelligent haunting? But I think sometimes why couldn't it be both? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it could be residual. She's going about what she was doing before, and all of a sudden somebody likes to match, and she kind of snaps out of it and realizes, oh, and maybe she becomes like it's not residual anymore. That's interesting. So
Yeah.
that's why I like to have like a group thing. You think of things that somebody else might not think of.
oh God, you need to have a phone call with me at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Any of you do, then you'll be like, oh, Andrea, like.
See, I always personally wonder because a lot of this stuff is repetitive. I guess that's why I always think of it a residual. And not necessarily it is a haunting, but it is residual because of the repetitive, and that's
Yeah,
sort of, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud on your
that's okay.
podcast.
That's fine. I mean, because the match could be a trigger, and maybe
Mhm.
that's what.
Yeah, yeah. It's just sorry. I'm thinking
That's okay.
about it.
That's
Yeah,
what we're here for.
that's awesome, though. That's a really good story. I forgot all about that one.
There is a lot of great stories across Canada. Like I think we're undervalued, and it's about how haunted Canada really is. And it's not even just with hauntings. Like we have so many genres of the paranormal here, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess we don't talk about it enough, but we do. Like if anybody's interested in any area of the paranormal, whether it's Bigfoot, cryptozoology, spirits, UFOs, like whatever you're looking for, you will find it somewhere in Canada.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
really all throughout Canada.
Mhm.
Bigfoot, Dogman, there's Ogopogo in BC, there's Champy at Lake Champlain, there's so many. And like I was telling Angela before we started recording, before you all popped in, the United States have a lot of paracons, and I'm really jealous. We don't have a lot here in Canada. I really wish we had it, but I think because if we could bring more, how could I put that? Kind of have like a paranormal tourism, I guess you could call it, and visit these places.
Yeah,
I
great.
think
It's pretty big in Victoria. I know, like John Adams has made it very famous,
Yeah.
and Angie and I just went to a thing the other night with John Adams at the Royal Theatre. It's telling stories about all the ghosts of theaters across
Mm.
Canada, but mainly ours.
That was amazing, though, wouldn't you say? Like just being in that haunted building with like all the theatrics and the storytelling, like it was really wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
I really liked it. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I'm actually going to a place in Smith Falls outside of, about half an hour from Ottawa. A friend of mine, she's having this thing where she's going to this old theater and she sold tickets. A friend of mine and I are going, and she's going to be doing table tipping and stuff like that. I've never done that before. So I'm super, super excited to go to that on November 1st.
Wow, that's
in this old theater. I think it's also from the 1800s, but I just love architecture, like the old buildings. Like I would love to go to the UK because I can't imagine going to a building that was built in the 13th century or something. It's just crazy.
And
We're
you
so
know
young.
the energy that's in those stones and in that brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But we need to get you out here, Kat, or we need to
we do.
or both. Like
both, yeah.
No.
Let's manifest that. We keep saying that. Let's manifest that.
Let it be it so.
Does anyone have any other stories? Or ghosts?
Do you want us to tell weird little stories that maybe we've encountered, or like?
Sure, yes.
Ladies, would you like to go first, or?
Well, I was actually gonna tell a little Halloween. My favorite Halloween story. It's not my story, but it's one of my favorites because it reminds me. Halloween time, I love to watch the old movies. They all have to be black and white. They have to be the B Halloween movies. They have to be the Thing. They have to be the Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. Anything is Night of the Living Dead. And this, we have a wonderful lake in Langford called Thetis Lake. And there is a story of these two teenage boys who in the 1970s, a lot of things happened in the 70s. They went down. It was the end of the summer, getting close to fall, so fall time. They wanted to spend the day at the beach at Thetis Lake. So they got down there. They took their snacks and their sodas and pops, and they rushed down to the lake and they swam out. And they were all excited because there was two groups of girls out there. So they were, doing the girl thing, watching the girls. The girls were watching them. So they were goofing around and having a great time. Then they decided to go back in, and by that time the girls had started to go home, and so they were a little bummed. But they thought, no, we're gonna stick around. It's still beautiful. It's still light out and still warm. So they're lying on their towels and stuff, and they decided, oh, just one more time. So they started to go out, and they noticed these bubbles started to form in the calm lake. The lake was really calm and flat, and these bubbles started to form underneath. And the one boy just was looking out, and he saw this humanoid head emerge from the water, and thought, oh my God, what is this? And by the time he looked back, his friend was just turned around and saw it, and the friend said, just run. And so this humanoid thing that looked like the creature from the Black Lagoon got out. He had scaly fish, scaly skin, and long, scaly, sharp hands. And I guess he just ran after these boys, and the boys just took off out of the water. But one of them tripped and fell, and I guess the creature had slashed his hand, and he got up and he ran to the car, and they went away. And so that was the last of that. However, they did go to the RCMP and report it. And then one gentleman, a few days later had said, oh, that must have been my lizard. My lizard got out. And they're like, no, that's, not quite a lizard. And then there was another report. Another man had seen the exact same thing. and he was a fisherman on the lake, and he said that the creature came up and started running towards him as he was running out, heading towards for his car. And he was so scared, he jumped in his car and he just heard this slash and he drove off. By the time he got to the highway away from the lake, he stopped and he got out and he looked out, and sure enough, there was this slash down the side of his car with a silver scale. And so that's our little stories, our little Halloween stories from the Thetis Lake monster.
That is
Cool.
wild, and I've never heard that story before. I love it. Tell it
No,
again.
oh
Tell it again, yeah.
No, it's true. It's these boys, 1970, 72, have found there's a creature in Thetis Lake.
As soon as you said the bubbles in the water, I all of a sudden thought of Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Right? That's why we had to say it. That's why we had to do it, because that's my Halloween.
Yeah.
And we had it right here at Thetis Lake.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good story.
That was my story.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a great story. Now you have to get the team to go and investigate it.
I know we should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyone else? Lorianne?
Well, I guess it's sort of a personal ghost story, I guess. It's a short one. Quite a few years ago, I was near the end of an archaeology degree, and we had to go to I didn't have to, but we had to go. I went to a field school in Antigua, and just before I left, I had a dog called Rocky. He was a border collie, and he was almost shy of 17 years old.
Wow.
And, yeah, he was aged, according to the vet. Border collies don't live that long, apparently. But it was a very difficult decision we had to make. And he was a large part of our lives. And we got him when we first got married. And he was just a really great dog. And our cats who grew up around him also thought they were dog cats as well.
Yeah.
So it really impacted the whole family. But it was a few days before I had to go on this trip. So I flew to Antigua to do the archaeology field school. And honestly, I didn't know what the heck I was doing down there, or why am I taking archaeology in the first place? And it was this particular hill was called a Fort of Last Retreat. And it was near where we were staying in Nelson's Dockyard. And it was a fort of Last Retreat was where they would put all, the soldiers and the British women and whenever they were being attacked. So, but it was called Monk's Hill, and it was a huge hill. I mean, it was like you had to make sure you had water and you were hiking up. Antigua's very hot and humid. And I'm just being totally miserable and going, what am I doing here? And as I mentioned earlier. And so I'm looking around, and then I look down below me, like to my left, and there's my dog walking beside me and looking up at me. And there was another girl who was with me, and she goes, that's weird. Why is that dog with you? Wow. And I knew right away that it was Rocky. And Rocky was, looking up at me and just, following me up this really big hill. It was, and he just was with me. And then as I was making it towards the top, he was running in and out of the forest around us and looking at me like he was encouraging, and just kept looking at me like he always did. And the girl I was with would just go, that's really weird that dog just keeps following you and watching you. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty weird. That's weird. All right. But I knew it was Rocky. Like, there was no doubt in my mind that it was. And really, no one would have a border collie with long hair down in Antigua. And as soon as we got to where we needed to get to, he was gone.
Wow.
He had completely disappeared.
That's amazing.
And as you can see, to this day, if it hadn't been for that other student with me, I would have thought I was overheating
Yeah.
and seeing things. But the fact that she would go, that's weird. Why is that? Whose dog is that? Why is that dog here? He's following you. Why is that, happening? And you have to understand the dogs and everything there are wild. There's really not, they're not like Canada, Canadian dogs that are pampered to death and everything like that. So it still hits me because I just, I knew that I needed somebody or something there to say, well, just to be with me and to encourage me. And, or maybe it was, I don't know, way of saying goodbye. I just don't know. But, yeah, anyways, that's my
Oh, I love
dog.
that story.
Yeah.
When that other tourist said that's weird, you should have said, you want to know something even weirder? That's my dog.
Dog, Rocky. And it was just so strange because I'm going, why he's dead? Why is he here? And so, it just was a very emotional moment going up, and I made it up that hill and did the excavations we needed to. But yeah, he knew I obviously needed him there. And so anyways, that's my haunted dog
Thank
story.
you for sharing that.
I love it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So don't ever think, so when people go if there's, dogs or animals or pets, if they have ghosts, well, I would say it may be spirits or whatever, however you want to look at it. I firmly believe. So when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, I know it's true. I know that part is true because I've experienced it. So,
Wow.
Anyway,
Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. That's all I
Andrea?
got on that.
That's okay.
It's really, I'm really regretting my attire.
Are you overheating?
It's so freaking hot. But I have a quick story to tell, and this is one that involves Jen since she couldn't be here, so I'll just so it's
sure.
of all the group. But a time when I would have needed this jacket, I'm pretty sure it was back in 2012. So there was another team that hosted a paranormal event at Fort Rod Hill and Fiskard Lighthouse, and that was the only paranormal investigation they ever allowed there. So there was a group of, I think it was around 30, 35 people plus their team. And then, Jen and I were just kind of dipping our toes into the paranormal at the time. And so we're like, F yeah, let's go. Right. And so it was really cool because they have these, I don't know if there's a different name, but we call them authentics, those round.
Yeah.
And they house between 4 to 6 per person. And so anyway, so the whole night we were kind of just moseying around these the military base, which is known to be quite haunted, and then the lighthouse itself is known to be quite haunted, both with elementals or other beings and humans as well. So it's a very, very, very haunted place. And there was something that we encountered in the lighthouse that everybody was freaked out about, that was pushing us around. And I was one of the last people to leave the lighthouse, and I actually have photos of, I was able to capture it and a face of a person in the window. So we know it's something very sinister. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, this thing just liked to toy with me. But I also was like, no, I'm Canadian. Poser. So that was one of the last building. Well, actually, no, there's a couple more buildings we went into, but essentially it was near the end of the night. But you could feel this thing was following, well, at least me and a few other people were noticing that energy was around. So yes, we went back to the authentics, and our cabin was, I was right on the edge. And I have to say, it was pretty much about this time of the year. So, hey, in Canada, great time to go camping, right?
Yeah.
And it was right on the ocean. So I was on, I guess you could say the left side, right on the edge of the tent. And then there was a girl, I don't remember who she was, but she was kind of under Jen. Jen was in the bunk bed above, and then there was another girl on the end. And I'm not one who's really great sleeping away from home. And, there's two, my ADD mind is always oh, what's going on? What's that noise? Oh, there's a bear, let's chase it, right? So I'm finally, like it's probably about 5 a.m. at this point. I'm freezing to death, and I'm finally starting to fall asleep. And all of a sudden, my covers, I look up, I remember like not being able to move, and I could feel the covers being pulled down. The girl next to me started screaming bloody murder. Jen and the other girl woke up like, what the hell? And I'm just lying there. And then I know the girl next to me saw it, but I don't know if the other two were kind of like, they were sound asleep and kind of like, what the heck's going on? But the girl saw the covers being pulled off of me, and you could see the hands at the end of the bed, but you couldn't see a figure standing there. And we felt something go whoosh right out of the building after. And I just was like, that's not cool. So that was one of the creepier investigation stories. And I don't know. Some could say it's a great paranormal experience. Some could say it wasn't. Kind of in the middle.
Well, yeah, that is kind of freaky. Wow.
What I didn't like about it, that was about one of the only times I actually remember being like, oh my God, I can't move. And I knew I was fully awake, like, and it wasn't from being overtired. Like, I literally had the sheets not just pulled down like a little bit, like halfway down my torso. So it was enough to be like, and I was lying flat on my back. So it was enough that I was like, I was fully aware of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
wow.
Little jerk waking me
up. Well, I'm going to finish.
Did you go back to sleep?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Did you go back to sleep?
Sure didn't.
I don't imagine.
I don't think anybody did. I think everybody was kind of like, what the?
Yeah. Wow. Let's start breakfast.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm like, let's go back to the lighthouse. Everybody was like, F no.
Wonder if you brought something back from the lighthouse.
I definitely think it wanted to come camping with us. I never felt that energy in the car or going home. And I took a lot of precautions to make sure that little butthole didn't come along.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I have definitely noticed it there a few times going back. And Lorianne, I don't know if you remember one time we were there, we got some photos by the window and something was in a mist appearing by the window there too. So it's something that does seem attached to the lighthouse.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I was going
to say for the audience, no one here has any dogs. I'm just kidding.
Mine's snoring in the background. So
mine is desperately waiting for me to take her outside.
So we have just a couple minutes left. I thought I'd finish off with one of my experiences. I know some listeners have heard this before. I've mentioned it on the show before. When we moved to Alberta a few years ago, the house that we purchased, we were only the second family to have lived in the house. So young couple bought it. They had their family, she grew old. She was a widow, but her husband was still in the house, and he was in spirit form. My daughter knew he was there as well, and I'm laying in bed. So above it was a very, very old house. Like there was carpet on carpet in the bathroom. I'm glad I had one of those carpet steam cleaners because that bathroom probably hadn't been that carpet probably wasn't that clean since it was purchased because they had boys and well, we all know, right? So it's just like, oh. Anyway, so very old house. Loved it. It's not that old, but anyways, not like the 1800s. So above the closet doors, there was these great big cupboards, and it had, in order to open it, you had to really pull on it, and then to close it, you kind of had to push it in. So there's no way that it's opening by itself. My husband's snoring, sound asleep next to me, and I'm laying there going, so when are you going to show yourself to me? And all of a sudden I hear, and I look up, and one of the cupboard doors is open. Oh. I just smiled and said, okay, thank you. And I went right to sleep. I was just like, this is like, that was the coolest. I didn't have to get rid of him. I told him, as long as you behave, you can stay. But yeah, we had a few little odd things happen in the house, but it wasn't anything like, oh my God, we need to get a priest. he was just curious as to who's living in his house.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my story.
Oh, wow.
Well, ladies, thank you so very much for being on here. I really appreciate you sharing the Halloween time with myself and the audience. If one of you or all of you, I don't know, would like to say the name of your team and how they can find you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. First of all, thanks for having us on. Like we love your show. We love being on it. So we really appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, if anybody'd like to find us, we're Unearthing Shadows Paranormal, and pretty much you can find us under YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's all we have right now. Just pretty much Unearthing Shadows Paranormal. The girls, they have their own accounts as well. Pretty much if you search USP _ their names, you'll be able to find them, and I'll let them take it from there.
Okay. Lorianne?
I'm only have Instagram is my main professional account. It's USP _ Lorianne _ researcher. You can find me there. That's the only really active social media I have with Unearthing Shadows Paranormal.
Okay.
Well, thanks for having me and us all together. It was fun. We just missed it again.
I know.
Next time. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, USP _ Angela Moran. And yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I really like this. An hour just flies by when you're telling stories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say my farewells to the audience. And if you guys can hang tight for a couple of minutes, we'll just chat for a little bit. And thank you so very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Well, folks, that's another episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed talking to them. So a huge thank you to my special guest tonight and to you, my wonderful audience, for tuning in. I also want to thank UPRN 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast for carrying the show. And if you enjoyed tonight's episode, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. It truly does mean the world to me. And if you'd like a little piece of paranormal heart to call your own, you can grab some podcast swag, like a mug. Like I always say every episode, if you're watching the video, this is what the mug looks like. Just send me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. Even if it's just to say, hello, how are you doing? What's the weather like in your area? Just send me an email. So until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other. Sending you so much love, and be safe on Halloween. Goodbye.